Look around you. Literally everything, from that smartphone buzzing in your pocket to the wild swings of the global stock market, is completely driven by data. But here's the thing. Raw, chaotic data on its own? It's kind of useless. It has to go through a massive transformation to actually become the organized backbone of modern analytics. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to see exactly how that happens.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today. We are going to cover what data processing actually is, the data quality factor, Phase 1, manual processing, Phase 2, mechanical processing, and finally, Phase 3, electronic processing. All right, let's jump right into Section 1. What exactly is data processing? So data processing isn't just about hoarding tons of information. It is about actively doing something with it. You're taking raw, messy facts and figures, and through some serious organization and categorization, you manipulate that data to extract valuable connections. You're basically finding those hidden trends so you can actually address pressing issues. To give you an idea of what this looks like today, processes that used to take armies of human workers have been progressively superseded by high-capacity modern tools. Take facial recognition, for example. Classifying facial data requires some seriously heavy algorithms to actually recognize a human face. Or think about time series analysis, which is basically tracking data points over time. We absolutely have to have that to make sense of the lightning-fast data coming out of the stock market. Moving right along to Section 2, the data quality factor. This is huge because it doesn't matter how amazing your extraction algorithms are if you're feeding them garbage, right? We have to look at common data issues versus fundamental problems. So on one hand, you have missing data and duplications. Those definitely affect quality, but routine data cleaning and validation techniques can effectively organize and fix them. But structural problems, that's a whole different ballgame. If your equipment was designed wrong or your data collection was biased from the start, your insights are going to be fundamentally flawed. You literally cannot algorithm your way out of biased data collection. Which brings us to how we got to where we are today. The history of data processing is broken down into 3 distinct phases: manual, mechanical, and electronic. Each one represents a massive, game-changing leap in how humanity handles information. You can see this evolution mapped out perfectly on a timeline. We stepped from an era of pure human effort before 1890, jumped into mechanical machines right at 1890, and finally arrived at the modern electronic algorithms we use today. Let's step back in time for Section 3. Phase 1, manual processing. Before we had mechanical tools, processing data meant painstaking, mind-numbing human effort. People had to organize and manipulate data strictly by hand, without much assistance from machines at all. Think endless ledger books and giant physical file cabinets. Because of that, the scale of data they could process was, understandably, incredibly limited. But surprisingly enough, manual processing isn't totally dead. It is actually still in use today for some very special cases. Think about trying to retrieve data from fragile, outdated texts, or handling historical documents that are just way too difficult to digitize. If you have faded ink, or a totally weird format that modern machines just can't read, an algorithm is going to fail. In those specific scenarios, good old-fashioned human effort is still the only valid processing tool. All right, Section 4, Phase 2, mechanical processing. The year 1890. This is a massive turning point. It is the definitive start of the mechanical era of data processing. Why 1890? Well, that exact year, the U.S. Bureau of the Census installed a system of intricate punch card machines to compile the national population census. I mean, imagine trying to count and categorize the entire U.S. population by hand. It was becoming literally impossible. By using these mechanical tools, they made it quicker and vastly easier to search and compute data than the old manual way ever allowed. It was a total game changer. And that brings us to Section 5, Phase 3, electronic processing. The shift to electronic computers seamlessly replaced all those manual and mechanical processes. It directly fixed the major pain points of the past by virtually wiping out manual calculation mistakes and operating at speeds those old mechanical systems couldn't even dream of. The result? Overall productivity just skyrocketed. Today, cutting-edge electronic data processing is absolutely everywhere. Powered by advanced computers, it's the driving force across major industry applications, huge research institutions, and academia. Whether it's a massive corporation tracking global trends or a university mapping out social behaviors, electronic data processing is the invisible engine running the modern world. We're going to explore exactly how data processing and data science are becoming more relevant in the financial sector literally every single day. You know, if you've ever wondered how your bank seems to instantly know if a transaction is fraudulent, or how insurance companies can customize your rates on the fly, well, you are witnessing the power of data science in finance. It is an absolute game changer, and today we're going to break down exactly how it all works. So here's our roadmap for today. We will map out the broader landscape of this transformation first, and then deliberately unpack 4 specific critical pillars of data science application. All right, first up, Section 1, the data science ecosystem. The financial industry generates just an overwhelming volume of information, and because of this, the methods for analyzing it have fundamentally shifted. This brilliantly illustrates the 11 significant areas where data science plays a role in modern finance. We're talking everything from algorithmic trading to anomaly detection. It's a massive, interconnected web, but to really grasp this transformation today, we are zooming in on just 4 foundational areas, starting with one of the most critical. That brings us to Pillar 1, risk analytics. Business inevitably involves risk, right? That is especially true in finance. So it's absolutely crucial to determine the risk factor before making any decisions. But here is the massive challenge institutions are facing. A huge portion of a company's risk-related data is totally unstructured. Attempting to analyze this unstructured data for threats, like, say, cybersecurity risks, without data science methods is highly challenging and, frankly, incredibly prone to human mistake. You simply cannot catch everything manually. This is exactly where machine learning becomes indispensable. By tracking the importance of a loss and the regularity of its recurrence, machine learning algorithms can actually prioritize dangers and highlight the precise regions that represent the maximum threat. This allows businesses to avoid similar circumstances in the future. Once a danger has been recognized, it's prioritized and its recurrence is closely watched. These algorithms look through historical transactions and general information to help banks analyze each customer's reliability and trustworthiness. They dynamically determine the relative risk of accepting or lending to a customer. So transaction data is used to create a dynamic, real-time risk assessment model that responds instantly to any new client data. Moving right along to Pillar 2, real-time analytics. Now, what's really interesting here is the dramatic evolution in how quickly we can actually process all of this information. You kind of have to understand how things used to be. Prior to significant advances in data engineering, all data was historical. We used this older method called batch processing, where data was gathered over a predetermined timescale, meaning engineers only discovered significance in numbers that were days, weeks, or sometimes even years old. Because of these massive delays, any conclusions drawn from this historical data were possibly invalid by the time they were finalized. Look at the stark contrast on this slide. Thanks to incredible advances in data engineering, we're talking about tools like Airflow, Spark, and cloud solutions, working alongside machine learning, businesses can now establish a customer's worth instantly. With dynamic data pipelines and a much speedier data transmission between the source and the analyzer, businesses can respond rapidly to consumer interactions. With real-time analysis, credit ratings and transactions are just far more precise. Let's move on and see how this builds into our third pillar, managing unstructured customer data. So, how do we effectively manage the sheer chaos of modern client data? In recent years, a lot of financial institutions process their data solely through traditional business intelligence, or BI. But BI really relies on organized, structured data. With more transactions occurring every single minute than ever before, plus the arrival of social media and new Internet of Things devices, well, we have a massive proliferation of unstructured data. Because of this, traditional BI is simply no longer enough to handle the unstructured data structure. It's become significantly less effective for predicting future trends. So how do we handle it? Enter the Data Science Toolkit. Data science is incredibly well-equipped to deal with massive volumes of unstructured, new data using these specific tools: text analytics, data mining, and natural language processing. By tapping into these, a company's analytical capabilities can be completely upgraded, leading to a much greater understanding of market patterns and actual client behavior. Which brings us to our final pillar, personalizing consumer analytics. This introduces a really fascinating paradox in modern finance regarding the consumers themselves. The question is, how do you provide customized service when every single customer is unique, yet there are more consumers out there than ever before? It's a huge contradiction.
And honestly, it simply cannot be sustained without the intelligence and automation of machine learning to process all this data swiftly and efficiently. The answer is step-by-step automation. Insurance firms and financial institutions use a conjunction of real-time analytics and prior data patterns. They do a lightning-fast analysis of transaction history, and this automated process allows them to instantly eliminate what we call sub-zero consumers. Then they can enhance cross-sales and accurately calculate a consumer's lifetime worth. The brilliant thing here is that this allows each financial institution to keep their own strict degree of security while reviewing each application individually, completely avoiding time-intensive individualized analysis.
And finally, our last section, the future of finance.
So the crucial takeaway here is that these 4 pillars of data science are actively replacing human error and slow batch processing with instantaneous, highly customized financial security. It's a total transformation. But it leaves us to wonder about something pretty important. As we've seen how quickly institutions are adapting to unstructured data, exactly how will our daily digital footprint dictate our future financial choices? Right now, as we speak, how is your daily unstructured data being transformed into your financial identity at this very moment? It's definitely something to think about.
We're looking at how organizations are using incredibly complex algorithms to decode something literally every single one of us participates in every day: consumer behavior. We generate absolute mountains of data, but raw data on its own, it's just noise. So let's see how data science transforms that noise into crystal clear directives for business and finance. It's kind of a crazy question, right? Have you ever wondered how a company seems to anticipate your exact needs before you even realize you have them? To answer that, we're going to look closely at 4 distinct applications of data science. It isn't magic, I promise. It's just a meticulously structured process of learning from the past to predict the future.
So here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, the power of segmentation. 2, crafting personalized services. 3, advancing customer service. And 4, predicting the future market.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the power of segmentation, grouping the masses.
We all love to think of ourselves as totally unique consumers, right? A complete one-of-a-kind. But the reality for major organizations in finance and beyond is that they can only truly comprehend behavior after categorizing us into distinct, manageable groups. Manual analysis of every single person is just impossible.
So, how do they actually do it? Well, automated machine learning algorithms group us based on socioeconomic clustering factors. We're talking things like geography, your age, and obviously the big one, your buying patterns. By examining these clusters collectively, businesses can start to assess your current and long-term worth. This is where the math gets super interesting. Data scientists use these algorithms to assign what they call relative relevance scores to those specific attributes. They basically take your cluster and compare it directly to the data of former customers. Why? Because this comparison reveals the expected value of the time invested with you. They are literally putting a number on your long-term worth. And look, this leads to a pretty harsh reality of modern business. With this cluster information, financial businesses can efficiently eliminate clients who provide little value and focus their energy exclusively on those with actual promise. It's just a totally data-driven approach to maximizing their investments. Moving right along to Section 2, crafting personalized services, customizing the experience. So even massive organizations strive to provide a really customized service to enhance their reputation and boost your lifetime value. But they aren't doing it with human intuition. They use natural language processing, or NLP, alongside voice recognition tech. NLP is this rapidly progressing field of AI that takes messy things like a phone interaction or a written customer evaluation and completely dissects it into a series of highly important data points. The endgame here is simple. By deeply comprehending your interactions through NLP, the business can deliver a product that precisely meets your needs. When you feel understood and get exactly what you want, it totally facilitates cross-selling. This increases revenue, enhances the customer service experience, and seriously bolsters that lifetime value we just talked about. Which brings us to Section 3, advancing customer service, real-time interactions. Okay, picture this. You're on a call with your bank. First, you start speaking to the customer care agent. Instantly, real-time NLP is evaluating your words as you speak. Next, the system pops up practical financial advice directly on the agent screen, even if you aren't entirely sure what product you're looking for. Finally, the agent can efficiently address your inquiry while seamlessly cross-selling or upselling. And the craziest part?
the value of that phone call doesn't end when you hang up. The knowledge gathered from your specific encounter is used to inform subsequent interactions of a similar nature. It literally enhances the system's efficacy over time. Every single call teaches the AI how to be smarter for the very next caller. All right, final stop, Section 4, predicting the future market, anticipating evolving patterns.
Now we're zooming way out. When a financial organization needs to anticipate how large-scale market patterns might evolve, they turn to predictive analytics. By inputting pre-processed historical data into machine learning systems, these algorithms learn to extrapolate. They identify hidden correlations from the past to literally anticipate future occurrences.
Now, scientists usually approach this in two different ways. First, you've got shallow learning. For this to work, the data has to be painstakingly cleansed and altered by humans first. But then you have deep learning. This is the real heavy hitter. Deep learning changes the data without any human preparation to establish its initial rules. Because it can do this entirely on its own, it achieves vastly superior performance. A perfect application of this is stock market forecasting. These deep learning algorithms will study historical intervals, say looking at a week, a month, or a quarter. They learn the trends within that past data to forecast future stock market movements. It then depicts these expected patterns for end users, which massively assists them in developing winning investment and trading strategies. So, we've gone all the way from the micro to the macro. Think about it. If algorithms are already determining your long-term worth, listening to your calls to cross-sell you, and forecasting the global markets we all invest in, how much of our financial future is actually our own choice, and how much is just the algorithm functioning perfectly? Definitely something to chew on.
Have you ever actually stopped to think about the sheer volume of global finance? I mean, every single second of every single day, millions of financial transactions are taking place all across the globe. We're talking credit card swipes at your local grocery store, massive corporate loans being processed, high-frequency stock trades just flashing across exchange boards. The scale is almost unimaginable. So the obvious question is, with millions of actions happening in a fraction of a second, how is it all monitored? Human eyes? Yeah, they definitely can't keep up with that kind of volume.
So, the answer? It all comes down to tech. Artificial intelligence and data science are the unseen protectors, and really the invisible engines of our modern markets. They operate entirely behind the scenes, processing colossal amounts of information, what a lot of people are now calling the new oil, just to keep the global economy functioning smoothly, securely, and efficiently.
Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're going to start with data science and finance, then explore fraud detection, move into catching anomalies, pivot over to algorithmic trading, and finally wrap it all up with the future of finance. Let's get into it.
All right, Section 1, Data Science and Finance. The relevance of data processing in the financial sector is literally growing by the minute as the availability of big data just keeps expanding.
Notice just how vast this field has actually become. There are 11 significant areas where data science plays a massive role in finance today. You've got things like risk analytics, customer data management, consumer analytics, and predictive analytics, and they are all working together to process real-time data and provide personalized services. But for the sake of this explainer, we're going to laser focus on three specific pillars of market integrity and speed: fraud detection, anomaly detection, and algorithmic trading. Let's look at our first pillar, fraud detection and real-time protection. Look, with the massive spike in everyday financial transactions, the risk for fraud, identity theft, credit card scams, that naturally shoots up too. Tracking these incidents and limiting the fallout is a massive responsibility for financial institutions. And this perfectly illustrates how they actually do it. As the tech used to analyze big data becomes more sophisticated, AI and machine learning algorithms can now detect fraud with just incredible precision. They do this by drawing trends from a vast ocean of historical data. So imagine a consumer who has traditionally been, very frugal, according to their data profile. Suddenly, bam, a major, totally out-of-character purchase is attempted on their credit card. The system recognizes that behavioral deviation instantly.
This builds into an absolutely incredible automated defense mechanism because the system responds in real time to suspect behavior. The reaction is literally split second. Step 1, the irregularity is detected. Step 2, the card is immediately terminated. Step 3, a notification gets sent straight to the card owner. Boom, boom, boom. The crucial point here is that this rapid action doesn't just protect the client, it acts as a vital shield for the bank and the client's insurance carrier, limiting the financial damage before it can even truly happen.
All right, next up, catching insider trading anomalies. Here, we're shifting gears from protecting everyday consumer bank accounts to policing Wall Street and sniffing out hidden financial anomalies on a much larger scale. Now, financial services have always placed a premium on detecting anomalies, but there's a fundamental challenge, perfectly captured right here. Anomalies are only proved to be anomalous after the event happens, right? While data science can give us real-time insights, it can't always anticipate a singular, isolated incident of credit card fraud before that very first swipe. But when we're talking about massive market manipulation, data analytics absolutely can discover instances of unlawful insider trading before they cause considerable harm to the broader market.
To catch these market manipulators, institutions bring in the ultimate digital detectives. We are talking about recurrent neural networks, or RNNs, and long short-term memory models. Basically, these are highly advanced algorithms custom-built for anomaly identification. They meticulously analyze the behavior of traders both before and after information about the stock market becomes public. By doing that, they can determine if specific individuals illegally monopolize stock market forecasts and essentially cheated regular investors.
And the tech isn't stopping there. The foundation of the absolute most modern anomaly detection solutions relies on what are called transformers. These are cutting-edge, next-generation architectures taking this financial detective work to the next level. When these machine learning techniques discover irregularities, they instantly notify the relevant financial institution, triggering a speedy inquiry.
Okay, let's pivot from defense over to offense with algorithmic trading. We've talked about protection, now let's talk about the super-fast machines executing trades without any human intervention at all.
Algorithmic trading happens when an entirely unsupervised computer utilizes the intelligence supplied by an algorithm to make trade suggestions on the stock market. And the core motivation behind this is pretty fascinating. By letting a machine take the wheel, you are effectively eliminating the risk of loss caused by human indecision and error. There's no emotion, no second-guessing, no panic. Just pure, calculated execution.
So, how exactly do you teach a machine to trade successfully? You use a method known as reinforcement learning. It's an unsupervised computer intelligence governed by a very strict set of rules that decide if it will trade on a specific market at a specific moment. It's taught using a system of penalties and rewards. Every single time a transaction proves to be a poor choice, the model issues a penalty, making sure the algorithm learns and adapts. It continuously refines its behavior to seek out rewards, which, in this case, are profitable transactions. And because the computer relies entirely on facts and this taught behavior, we get to the biggest advantage of algorithmic trading, the drastically increased frequency of deals. A machine analyzes data, spots a pattern, consults its rules, and executes a trade, all in a fraction of a second. No human thought, no hesitation, it acts instantly. And it will only trade when it perceives a profit opportunity according to its strict rules, no matter how incredibly rare those chances might be.
Which brings us to the future of finance. Let's tie all of these invisible forces together to really understand the broader impact data science is having on our economy.
So here is the crucial takeaway, the common thread running through all of this. Whether it's fraud detection algorithms killing a credit card in real time, anomaly detection models stopping catastrophic harm from insider trading, or algorithmic bots removing human hesitation to grab split-second profit opportunities, the common thread is that machines now shield and power the modern economy based purely on data, facts, and taught behavior. The sheer scale of modern finance makes this tech absolutely essential.
Which leads us to a rather profound question to close out this explainer. If machines are the ultimate protectors and the ultimate traders, operating strictly on logic in a fraction of a second, what exactly is the future role of humans in an entirely unsupervised financial market? As algorithms continue to learn and adapt, it is a fascinating, maybe even a little scary, dynamic to watch unfold. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the data-driven foundations of modern finance, and I really hope this leaves you wanting to look a little closer at the unseen systems powering our world.